Hello, welcome to the Drug Lifecycle Minute. I'm your host, Philip Day. My guest today is Dr. Mukesh Kumar. Mukesh is the Chief Innovation Officer of Drug Lifecycle DLTA. How are you today, sir?
I'm good, Philip. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Our topic today is once again talking about project management, and we're going to be a little more specific, and that is this. Managing a clinical trial project is a huge project. And my first question is this: how does a project manager keep track of all the myriad of tasks that are in a clinical trial?
Most of the times, most project managers would have list of tasks. They would have checklists. They may have forms. They may have other, most of these are manually created. So every project manager will make their own forms and checklists to keep track of various tasks they do. And because it's not done by one individual, they're distributed across the team. Project managers would have lists for each individual. And most of these lists or checklists are a part of the SOPs that you have in clinical trials, and there are additional documents that you create in clinical trials to run them. So most project managers would have a lot of paperwork that they track, that they try to make sure that all the tasks they have are covered.
Okay. Well, speaking of tasks, what is the most time-consuming one in a project for project management in a clinical trial?
It's keeping track of tasks. I think tracking of tasks is by any count one of the most time-consuming tasks. So an average project manager spends a lot of time doing update meetings, sending emails out, trying to catch up with people and trying to make sure everybody's doing what they are. So imagine a scenario where you have several people who are technically reporting to you, but they're doing their own work. And you want to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do on the days they're supposed to do. So project managers spend a lot of time, we'll do group meetings where everybody will sit around the table and tell what's going on. We'll do email trails. So a project manager could spend as much as more than half of their time in update meetings and doing, in tracking. So tracking is by far tracking of tasks, tracking of deliverables, tracking of individuals, is by far the most time-consuming task a project manager does.
Well, I know that they have tools and software that help them manage these clinical trials. Could you tell us a few of those kinds of tools and software and other aids that are available to clinical project managers?
Yeah, the most common tool and the widely used tool is a very broad project management tool. It's called Microsoft Project. It's a Microsoft project, Microsoft software, which is used by most project managers to keep track of their tasks and also to send updates to their teams, to their clients, to their bosses, and so on. There are other tracking systems, software, other customized software that companies have created on their own. Almost all of them are a derivative of Microsoft in one way or the other.
Okay.
Smaller companies, smaller teams would use something as simple as Excel to keep track of things, but more sophisticated project managers may go for Microsoft Project. And they may use in-house tools, in-house software, which basically is a variant of Microsoft Project.
Okay. Well, lastly, are these tools that some of these tools that you mentioned specific to these clinical trials? Because these projects are completely different from other industries.
Well, not really. I mean, Microsoft Excel is not just clinical trial, and neither is Microsoft Project. I mean, and there's a lot of, personalization or customization of these tools. So project managers will make Excel worksheets based on what they believe should be tracked, and so would Microsoft Project. They would have templates and so on. So no, there are no. The company specific, the tools that companies create. Maybe they are out there, but they are not publicly available. So every company will make their own tools, and there may be some which are specific to clinical trials, but there is nothing publicly available that you can buy off the shelf and start using to manage your projects. So as we had talked in previous times, that
Mhm.
a lot of the differences in how a trial is run depend on the company that is running the trial. So a larger, more sophisticated company may have more experienced project managers with well-developed tools and all, and smaller companies may not, and that would be the difference between a good and a bad trial. But
Ex-
no, there are no clinical trial specific tools.
Exactly. The difference between a good trial and a bad trial. The project manager and the tools that he or she uses to coordinate it and run it. Quite very crucial. Dr. Kumar, thank you so much for joining us. And I want to thank our audience for joining us for the Drug Lifecycle Minute. You can find out more about us at www.druglifecycle.com. Please check out our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn. Take control with DLTA. Have a healthy day. Bye-bye.